for 7th graders? This is the last lesson. Unit 4, Lesson 3. So, let's get started. And wrap this puppy up.
Hey BMS students, this is Miss Smith. We are continuing on with Unit 4, Inferences, and this is going to be our last lesson for this unit. So we had a really short unit. Our lesson is Measures of Variation. We have a couple of essential questions. The first one is, how can I describe the variation within a data set? What conclusions can be drawn from the data? And how can I use data to compare different groups? First, we're going to start off with some vocabulary words. First, we have how data is spread out, and that is our variability. Now, you should be looking for spread out. That's where you should be filling in. Make sure you're following along. Quartile is the 3 numbers that split an ordered data set in 4 equal groups. All right, and we have 3 different quartiles. Quartile 1, or which is also referred to as the lower quartile. The lower quartile, or Q1, is the median of the lower half of the data. And remember, you learned previously in Lesson 2 that median is that middle number. Quartile 2 is also considered the median, so the median of the entire data set. So this is the median, the middle of all of the numbers. This dealt with lower half, now we're talking about all the numbers. And then Q3, or the upper quartile, is the median of the upper half of the data. All right, then we have our 5-number summary. And our 5-number summary is the 5 numbers that divide a set of data into 4 equal groups. And we're going to be doing a lot with 5-number summary coming up. The 5-number summary is made up of these 5 things: the lower extreme, which this is the smallest number, so it's the smallest value in a data set, so the smallest number in the data set. It's made of the lower quartile, which is also Q1, which we just talked about, the median, or Q2, the upper quartile, Q3, and the upper extreme, which is the largest number in a data set. Those are the 5 things that make up a 5-number summary. All right, our next word is range, and the range is the difference. What does difference mean? It means subtract. So the subtraction, we're subtracting the greatest and the least values in a data set. So we're subtracting to find the range. We're subtracting the upper extreme and the lower extreme. And then the interquartile range, which is also referred to as the IQR, is the difference between Q3 and Q1. So the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So interquartile range equals Q3 minus Q1. All right. All right, next it says, what is the range? So we take these numbers and we try to figure out what our range is. Well, if we kind of refer back to our vocabulary words, the range is the largest number minus the smallest number. So I'm going to go in my data and I'm going to find the smallest number. So right now, 27, then I got 22. 19 is my smallest number, so I'm going to circle that. And then I'm looking for my largest, which is 58. So to find the range, I have to do 58 minus 19. So that gives me 39 for my range. So my numbers range, there's 39 numbers. All right, here's example number 1. It says, below are the weekly earnings for 8 Kroger employees. Find all measures of variation. All right, now the very first thing we have to do when we're dealing with measures of variation is first we have to put our numbers in order from least to greatest. So you just go through and order them from least to greatest. So first we have 175. Let me make my pen smaller so I can write on here. 175. Then we have 215. And what I like to do is after I've used them, I mark them off so I know I've already used it. Then we have 235, 240, 260, 280, 320, and 350. All right, and then this is what we're looking for. We are looking for the lower extreme, Q1, median, Q3, upper extreme, range, and interquartile range. Those are the really 7 things we're looking for. The first 5 make up the 5-number summary. So what we're going to do is first, after we put our numbers in order from least to greatest, we want to find the median. So the median is the middle number in the whole entire data. So you just kind of cross off till you find the middle. And the median actually falls in between these 2 numbers. All right, so this is where my median is. All right, now when you have 2 middle numbers, the 240 and the 260, these 2 numbers here are my middle numbers. I have to find the average. So you do 260 plus 240 and then divide by 2. Now, I know that in between 240 and 260 is actually 250. So my median is 250. Now, any number that is below the median, anything below the median is the lower half of the data set. So that means that all this below 250 is my lower half of my data. And when I'm looking for Q1, or the lower quartile, I want to find the median of the lower half. So I go and I figure out what is the middle number. Well, these two numbers happen to be in the middle, 215 and 235. So my lower quartile falls right in between those two numbers. And to find what that number is, you average the two numbers together. So you find the mean of these two numbers. When you add them and then divide by 2, you get 200. So this is Q1. You get 225. So that's my lower quartile, or my Q1. Now I'm looking for the upper quartile. So that's going to be any number that is greater than the median, is my upper half of the data. So I find the median of the upper half. Here are my two numbers. So I'm looking for the number that falls in between the two numbers. Add them, divide by 2, and that gives me 300. So my Q3, or my upper quartile, is 300. Now, in the 5-number summary, we also have to have the lower and upper extremes. The lower extreme is just going to be the smallest number. The upper extreme is going to be the largest number. So this is my lower extreme. This is my upper extreme. All right, they also wanted us to find the range. So remember, my range is my upper extreme minus lower extreme. So that's going to be 350 minus 175, which gives me 175. So that's my range. My interquartile range is my upper quartile, or Q3, minus my lower quartile, or Q1. And that's going to be 300 minus 225, so my interquartile range is 75. Now, it asks, what conclusions can you draw from your data? Well, I can conclude that for the Kroger employees, the highest number that they make is $350. The lowest that they make in a week is $175. The median, which is the middle number, the average that the employers make is $250, or the middle number, sorry, not the average. So this is some things that I can conclude from my data.
Okay. Break time. So, stand up. Stretch a little bit. Do a little dance. And take a break. In the meantime, here are some facts for you. Here we go.
All right, example number 2. It says a movie theater recorded the number of tickets sold for each showing of a movie during its opening weekend. Find all the measures of variation for the data below. So that means I have to do my 5-number summary plus my range and interquartile range. Alright, so the first thing I have to do is put the numbers in order from least to greatest. Alright, now I've already done that on my paper, so I'm just going to write those down. You write them down as I write them down. You're going to have to write it kind of small because there's a lot of them. Anytime they ask for all the measures of variation, they're wanting the 5-number summary and the range and interquartile range. So they may not ask for that specifically, but when they say all the measures of variation, that's what they're asking for. All right, we're almost done. 504, 509, and 746. Now, another thing that I do is I count my numbers and then make sure I've written all of them down, and you should have 12 here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so first we're looking for the 5-number summary. So we're looking for the lower extreme, lower quartile or Q1, median, upper quartile, upper extreme. Okay, that's what we're looking for first. So I've put my numbers in order from least to greatest. Now I'm going to find the median of the data. So my median is in between 467 and 469. So my median falls right in between those two numbers. All right, now what number falls in between 467 and 469? Right, 468. So no math really required there. All right, now anything that is below my median is considered the lower half of the data. And if I am looking for my lower quartile, I'm going to find that in the lower part of the data. So my lower quartile says that is the median of the lower half. Well, that number happens to fall in between 401 and 429. I don't know what number that is right off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to add these two numbers together, then divide by 2. When I do that, I get 415. So my lower quartile is 415. All right, my upper quartile is anything above the median in the upper half of the data. And that's going to be the middle number there, so it happens to be in between 499 and 504, so it falls right in between those two. That's going to be my Q3, or my upper quartile. You need to know both ways, both sayings. And when I add those together and divide by 2, I get 501.5. So my upper quartile is 501.5. And it's okay to have decimals. Now the last thing would be my upper and lower extreme. And those are the easiest to find because that's going to be my highest number and my lowest number. So the lower extreme is 302 and the upper extreme is 746. Alright, so now I found my 5-number summary, and we're going to use that actually later in order to make a box and whisker plot. So that's really important that you know how to do the 5-number summary. Now, they also asked us for the range and interquartile range. And remember, range is my upper extreme minus my lower extreme. So that's going to be 746 minus 302, and that gives me 444. And then my interquartile range, my IQR, is the upper quartile, or Q3, minus the lower quartile, or Q1. And when I subtract those, I get 86.5. And then it says, make a comparison of ticket sales from the data below. Now, it's important to remember that this was the number of tickets sold for each of the movie during the opening weekend. So not just one day, but the whole weekend. So what I can conclude from this information is that there were the median, the middle number of tickets sold for the weekend was 468. The most they sold over the weekend was 746, and the lowest they sold was 302. So that is some things that I can conclude or make a comparison about the ticket sales from my data. Now, like I was saying, when we make a box and whisker plot, it's going to be a little easier to see those results from the graph. All right, now it's your turn. There are two your turn questions that you need to complete. And remember, I want you to find all the measures of variation. So that's the 5-number summary, which is the upper extreme, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and upper extreme. It wants you to find the interquartile range and the range, and then tell me what conclusions can be drawn from your data. Whatever questions you have, you may ask your teachers the next day, but please at least attempt the 2 your turn questions. Thanks. Have a great day.